We're about to go live. I'm live. And go live over here. Go live. Go live. And we're going live on Facebook as well. I'm live on YouTube and Facebook. Welcome, everyone. We are live, it appears. And happy Christmas Eve. Be very, very disorganized and completely last minute. But I'm going to throw it out there and we're just going to go through some of my Christmas DVDs. As most of you know, I make a really cheesy Christmas CD compilation every year. But so when I'm looking for odd bits to have in there, I started out by buying VHS tapes. I've moved up to CD or DVDs and anywhere where there might be some weird conversation or bit that could be useful. So I've collected a lot of odd stuff. Not all of it's odd, but maybe you'll get some ideas of something you might want to hunt up and enjoy for the holiday season while everyone's sitting at home. So, like I said, I'm going to ramble through this pretty quick and talk a little bit that I do know about a lot of it. But I've got a lot, so let's get started here. Let's do Hanukkah first, since that's over. This is budget DVD. It was floating around, picked up at Goodwill, and it's has some nice Hanukkah stories and a little bit about the tradition. It's always nice to learn about other cultures and things of that nature. And then the only other real more children's Hanukkah thing that was kind of a hit was we got some major glare. Let me see if I can get better lighting. Stand by. Let's see. Bam. Is that better? It's a little better. Hold on. Like I said, this was spur of the moment, so things are a little crazy. Let's see if that helped the glare. And there it is. That's a little better. 8 Crazy Nights, the Adam Sandler film. Pretty much a Hanukkah Christmas story tied together because, you got to hit both markets when you can. Let's see. And then there's Miracle on 34th Street, which I have. So it's been re-grouped. Again, I buy too many things. Re-released a few times. So there is the first DVD release, all in black and white. Then there's the re-release. 20th Century Fox went through a serious, there we go, a serious bout of colorizing. So there's the colorized version. There's the Blu-ray when I upgraded to Blu-ray. And then there's an old TV version. It might have been before the movie, but it was apparently a story they could redo. They said, so I picked up from budget DVD. And let's see here. No real names I recognize. Sometimes they have more famous names. But there's also the TV version made in the 70s. You're very welcome, Chris. Good to see you here. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Whoa. Gonna make a mess of this. Yeah, let's see. We're going to start out with more common films. Little Women, for some reason, is considered kind of a Christmas film. So here's one version of it here. Early version. What year was this one? 1949. Then the Katharine Hepburn version, which was actually earlier, 1933. Might have been one or two versions in between. Then the Winona Ryder version in the 80s. And then I think just recently, in the last year or so, there was yet another version. And let's see, before we get too far into this, because I'll get texts and emails from people, there's Die Hard. Fire up Die Hard. A lot of people, it's not Christmas until after they watch Die Hard. So Merry Christmas and Yippee-ki-yay. And then there's the Christmas Story. Actually, the DVD version is pretty good, and actually the special edition has a lot of extras that are a lot of fun. And then the Blu-ray's done pretty well. Like I said, they just kind of skimped on the extras. And then Christmas Story 2. It's weak. No better way to put it. Anyway, there it is. They tried to capture spirit. It was more kind of a homage, and they kind of just ripped off the old things and did it poorly overall. But the cast tried, didn't quite pull it together. If you like Christmas Story, there's a Summer Story with Charles Grodin playing the dad, and that's actually not too bad. And then, of course, Santa Claus 1, Santa Claus 2, and Santa Claus 3. Kind of your 90s and 2000s classics. There's the Blu-ray of 3. I enjoy them. They're not first go-to. Disney has always got some for the kids. There's Mickey Mouse's Once Upon a Christmas and Twice Upon a Christmas. Very popular with the kids. I'll be honest, seen it in a while. Holiday celebration with Mickey Mouse and Friends. And then have you got the soundtrack? It's not bad, and it's kind of an interesting thing. It's Babes in Toyland. Has Ray Bolger, Annette Funicello, and Ed Wynn. Can never go wrong with an Ed Wynn film. Let's see. Get in this. If you just want to see a concert or music for the holiday, the first Trans-Siberian Orchestra DVD was actually a pretty good special. It was showed on PBS quite a bit, put together well. Kind of moves hard rock into Christmas pretty well, and a lot of bands have capitalized since then. There's the Andy Williams Christmas show from Branson on DVD. It's the full show. I actually saw it live with Cindy and the family one time. It's not a bad show, very traditional. Radio City, they've put out several CDs, the Rockettes, over the years, and albums. And this is a video of one of their shows. It's very popular in New York, and I think it's even been a TV special from time to time. After Twisted Sister put out their Christmas album a while back, they did a live tour around Christmas, and about half of this show is actually Christmas tunes done the Twisted Sister way. And then the DVD, most of these tracks are off the very first and maybe the second very special Christmas. It's just a compilation of the Christmas videos. And then Brian Setzer has kind of made his second career of being a Christmas guy. He's put out at least 3, possibly 4 albums. And this is a DVD of one of his Christmas specials. Like I said, that's more just to show you what I got, and maybe you'll get ideas if you get bored with the standard fare at home. Let's fire through some Dickens. So, put out by Warner Brothers, does not have any ties to the Rankin Bass, but does look a bit like the Rankin Bass specials. This is Oliver Twist from 1973. Larry Storch, Davy Jones. Davy Jones might have reprised his role from Broadway from the 60s. And then we get into Scrooge. There's hundreds of versions of Scrooged. This one from Seymour Hicks version actually here, and came out I think in 35. Interesting, there's a movie label out there called Legend Films. They do a really good job of colorizing. That was their thing. They've actually gotten contracts to do some of the newer films a few years, but when they were trying to break in and develop their technology, they released a ton of public domain films that they colorized. They did a good job. But for some reason, some of them, they changed their title. So they changed this from Scrooged. I think it was originally called A Christmas Carol. But it's and it's in public domain. There's a lot of versions of it. But this is the Seymour Hicks. It's actually a pretty nice colorization. Let's see. This is a really low budget label, and there's a lot of those you can pick up. Some nostalgic, odd things to see. And here's the Seymour Hicks again. I think I paid 50 cents for this, and it came along with Beyond Tomorrow, Living Bible, The Birth of a Savior, and then a sing-along with a bunch of public domain stuff, which I like watching that because I like the quirky stuff. We've got animated version. I'm sorry, 1930. Seymour Hicks again, and then A Christmas Carol, a TV production with Vincent Price. And then it's been a while since I watched it. I don't believe he was the main character, but he is I believe one of the ghosts. And then this is the Alistair Sim. There's also a lot of people believe this is one of the best versions. So this is the Alistair Sim. There's a Blu-ray of it. Film was remastered well. And this was a 1951 production. Albert Finney in the 70s, I believe, did this. And I remember watching this on TV as a kid. But it was a CBS production. And Seymour Hicks again. Seymour Hicks. And then a lot of these budgets, like I said, they'll throw weird things on there. There's a bunch of old 3 hours of odds and ends Christmas stuff and a bunch of old vintage commercials. You can often find sound bites on old vintage commercials. And then here's George C. Scott. A lot of people believe this is the definitive version as well. It's a very nice version. He makes a very good Scrooge in this. And then Jim Carrey. They did this for Disney. I believe there's also a 3D version of it. It's a lot of rotoscoping. It has a really nice look to it, and it's a pretty nice interpretation of Christmas Carol. And then the rewriting of Christmas Carol with Scrooged, one of my favorites. It's just got a lot of weirdness going on, and that's usually what I enjoy. It's got Carol Kane and Bill Murray, Karen Allen, Bobcat, and Buster Poindexter. The lead singer of the New York Dolls is the cab driver in here, one of the ghosts. All right, let's see what other quirky weirdness we can find here. If you just need something in the background, these are a nice thing to keep around. I've forced it upon people over the years. So this is Spirit of Christmas. These are just films of people's lights, and then they put some generic Christmas music behind it. I remember watching this one. The interesting thing is, note the beautiful snow on there. Best I can tell, all this was shot like on the West Coast because there's no snow anywhere. And everything looks pristine because they didn't get snow and crap on their lights all year. The Christmas Yule log, another one. This was a budget one, probably in it was 2002. The early 2000s, there was New York has the channel that always has the Yule log on Christmas Day for 20. It became a thing to put out a DVD of your own Yule log, so everyone had one. This is similar to that. It's almost like a screensaver. There's just kind of some background things rambling on, and a lot of Christmas scenes, and you can with music in the background. Another cheap version of the Moods by the Fireplace. Just have a crackling fire for hours with holiday music in the background. And actually, this was a very common thing as well. You could have just the music or just the crackling fire, or you can combine both. And here's Rhino's version of the Happy Holiday Hearth. We sold a lot of that one year when I was working at the record store. And then this one, again, they all look like they were set up in a studio. A lot of pans and zooms of Christmas tree after Christmas tree set up by professionals. And then another living fireplace. Can't have enough fireplace action going on. And one last one. You'll see a few of these. They're just in jewel boxes. These were old VHS tapes that I collected. I finally dubbed them to DVD, but this one's a classic here. This is Peter Clark's Christmas Tree Tips. And it was probably made in the early 80s, at the beginning of the VHS boom. And this man's in the studio, and by God, he's going to tell you how the hell to decorate your tree properly, step by step. Special segment for the advanced decorator, featuring beautiful designer themes, ideas galore, and it all can be done in less than 30 minutes. God bless America. Ugh. Oh, let's see here. And we'll throw this up here as well. We'll get into that. I've got two that are actually a lot of fun. This is the History Channel's Christmas Unwrapped, goes through the history of Christmas. I've read some books on history of Christmas because I'm a nerd. But this is actually a well-produced and nice documentary about where a lot of the traditions came from. And this is from Kino Video. They do a lot of really interesting stuff. This is Christmas Past. And it is, let's see the picture. It's really old. If I can get, there we go. Halfway decent shot there. These are all silent films from the early days of film, dating from 1901 to 1925. Like I said, they're very, very old films. Some of them are kind of creepy by today's standards. Santa Claus versus Cupid. But like I said, it's fun old films to watch. And they did a nice job restoring some of these historical films. This film, Santa Claus, which was, I believe, a Mexican production. And it is one of the weirdest films and one of my favorites. Try and watch part of it every year. Santa Claus, and then Beelzebub is following him around for some reason. He's got a workshop in the sky where he can absorb people. It is odd for many reasons. Again, it's all done with narration, and there's not a lot of speaking, as I remember. But it is a well-known film. And then Santa Claus versus the Martians. We'll talk about that some more later. But this is one cheap version, and it's in public domain, and you can pick it up on a lot of collections. This one's another one that had a lot of little segments that came along with it, and vintage toy commercials. Always fun. And then this is the Mystery Science Theater collection, but it's the Christmas collection, essentially. So you get their covering of Corpus Vanishes, Night, Santa Claus, and then somewhere I have them doing Santa Claus versus the Martians. But they're doing the Mexican film Santa Claus, and it's quite hysterical at times. All right. Let's see what else we can crank into. Like I said, I've got way too many DVDs Christmas related. Cindy can attest to that. But she tolerates it. Here's just some weird stuff real quick. A lot of public domain stuff. That's some odd stuff that I picked up. The He-Man She-Ra Christmas special. And it came boxed in a fine little ornament. Get an old public domain cartoon, The Christmas Burrow. And it's got a couple other public domain cartoons. You'll find those on all kinds of collections out there. Sometimes they're cleaned up nicely. Sometimes they're a little rough. Public domain one full of a lot of cartoons. Again, I've pulled off some sound bites from time to time off some of these. Sometimes the audio is weird. Being old, sometimes you can tell what type of equipment and what year it was just by the recording. They're using ribbon microphones in the 30s. It has a very distinct sound that's different than later on. Yeah. Let's see. The String of Blue Beads. Again, I believe I bought a bunch of these at Kmart one year. They were like $1 a piece, and was all these weird old TV specials from the 40s and 50s that were apparently in public domain, and they were putting them out on DVD. USO Christmas Show from 1958. This is quite entertaining. Like I said, it's got a bunch of old artists performing a show for the USO, the military. And like, apparently it's in public domain, and has a lot of big stars of the time: Gregory Peck, Frankie Lane, Dinah Shore, Danny Kaye, Shirley MacLaine, who had to be pretty young. They said 1958 I was much younger. Another thing with a compilation, you saw a lot of these in the early 2000s or late 2000s. Santa Who with Leslie Nielsen. It's a cheap TV movie. Santa Claus versus the Martians again. The TV version of Miracle on 4th Street. And Santa Claus. So you got both the classic cheese films in one collection. Picture of the Magi, which is often considered a Christmas film, and Christmas Carol again. And this is one featuring Vincent Price again. It was a television production. The Little Match Girl, and then a music album collection. The Santa Claus Punch and Judy is on here. That is a very interesting film. However, be warned, don't show it to your kids. It's very violent, and there's actually quite a bit of things that would be considered racist, but it's a product of its time, and it is a good example of a Punch and Judy show. And then animated film of The Snow Queen. And I don't know much about this one, but I know it's in public domain, and I've seen a lot. And it's got Sandra Dee and June Foray. So a lot of people from the Rankin Bass specials. Yeah, let's move along here. Crank through this real quick. Oh. Oh. Again, I'm always looking for sound bites to add to the Christmas thing. So this is a couple episodes of The Family Guy. Their Christmas came out, and it was cheap at I think at FYE. Jay Moore and Daphne Zugana, Christmas Do-Over. Not quite a Hallmark film, but not quite good enough to be released as a theater. Another collection of animation. There's a lot of the animation. There's some really interesting old animation from the 30s and 40s that's in public domain. Some of it I would view before you show your kids, but there's some that's a lot of fun and would probably distract them for a while. SpongeBob Christmas episodes. This is from 2003, so it's fairly early in the series, so only about half of it's really Christmas, but can never go wrong with SpongeBob. Another made-for-TV movie, Mr. St. Nicholas, with Kelsey Grammer. Didn't see it. Do you know it was a TV movie? That was a Hallmark. That was a Hallmarker. And Nick Picks. These are all episodes from Nick Kids' TV show. All Grown Up, The Finster Who Stole Christmas, SpongeBob, Fairly Odd Parents, Danny Phantom, Chalk Zone. Another Nick Jr. Christmas, Blue's Clues Christmas, Dora's Christmas, Little Bill's Christmas. There's a Simpsons Christmas episode, so it's got 6 of them. They've got like 26 years, so several of their shows. And then somewhere along the way, the Rudolph movie was put out on Good Times, which is a budget label. So it was Michael Lloyd, which I think he has ties to Troma. So it was a low budget animation reboot of Rudolph. We haven't seen a lot of sequels, so this is actually a really good film, almost kind of Tolkien. and ties a lot of themes, but and has a really nice look to it. It's pretty recent, but Rise of the Guardians I can recommend. It's Always Christmas with You, The Wiggles. So I might have to see what that song sounds like, because it sounds like something I would need. And then from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle original series in Technicolor, there's the Cowabunga Christmas. And I believe this has shown up a couple times this year. This is the Elf Story. Then it's apparently based on the Elf in the Shelf. When it blew up, they did video tie-ins trying to make a buck. Ice Age, the movie series, was able to spawn a Christmas special. Haven't seen it, but I'm sure it's festive. Arthur, I missed the whole Arthur train, but a lot of people really got into him, and he made his Christmas special. This one's got some really obscure cartoons. The Shanty Where Santa Lives is a nice one. First version of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, animated. It's an early 30s one. It's a very echoey ribbon microphone sound, but it's not bad. Snow Fooling, not directly Christmas, but always gets put on these because it's free. Here's two made-for-TV low-budget Christmas specials, and they put them all together. Oh, Christmas Tree, Jingle Bells, and We Wish You a Merry Christmas. Wish You a Merry Christmas had Nell Carter and Travis Tritt. I never miss a Travis Tritt Christmas special. And Jingle Bells has Jason Alexander, Don Knotts, and Shelley Long. I think this might have been made right before Seinfeld. I have a feeling they never would have got him after that. Ed Asner, Tiny Tim, and Marie Osmond, The Christmas Tree. Might be worth looking up. And there's the Pink Panther Christmas special. I've read about this. I believe it is based on... it's actually the O. Henry in the 70s and started more of a slightly... End video. We do not want to end video. Cancel. Let's go back. Live? We are not. I'm going to close and... I think we're still live here. We are. Sorry. It looked like Facebook went dead on me, but it looks like I'm still live. If I'm still live on Facebook, someone give me a comment if there. Anyway, I'm going to keep rambling on like I am because I am still live on YouTube. So the Gumby Christmas special. So it's Christmas, we would say. Gotta Catch Santa Claus, starring William Shatner as Santa. Anytime Shatner's into Christmas, I'm in. The Penguins Whacked Out Christmas. Again, these are a lot of just low budget, quick throw together tie-in holiday specials. Sonic the Hedgehog Christmas special. Bill and Opus, their Christmas special is actually pretty good. Cool. Thank you, Amy. Just making sure I was still live. It looked like Facebook had turned me off for a minute. And I actually like this one. I always did like Bill and Opus. It's kind of a sad melancholy, but it's animated well and pretty fun. Directed by Skip Jones, which I might be the son of Chuck Jones. I'd have to look onto it. Never go wrong with Shrek. There's a Shrek holiday special, and this one's got Donkey's Carolyn Christmas Spectacular, worth checking out on YouTube. The Christmas Mess, and I'll be honest, I have not seen this. So apparently this is a series because there's several episodes of the Christmas Mess, and it was produced by DIC, which is Dick Clark Enterprises. So Yeah, I might need to check that out. I said I picked these up, and I was Creature Comforts. I've watched this a few times at the holiday season. If you know anything about the series, they go out and do real interviews with people, come up with a question. So they ask a lot of questions about Christmas, and then they go back and they animate to what the interview is. So it is kind of a quirky thing, but it was very popular in England for a while, and there are several specials on that. Hermie and Friends. I don't know much about Hermie. I know I've seen it out there before. Tim Conway and Don Knotts, so it's probably not too bad. Holidays, the most Christmas that didn't happen. It's Fred Savage. So Fred Savage and Fred Willard and Edie McClure. And John O'Hurley. This actually looks like it's got potential. Have to check that out. Nuttiest Nutcracker, which I think it has ties to Veggie Tales from what I can tell here. All right. We're plugging along. I'm going to save my favorite weird stuff for the last here. Let's see what we got here. Aha. Some more kind of TV compilations. So this is actually, I don't know if I paid for this one or if it was a freebie at store, but this is a bunch of old sitcoms, their annual TV specials. So we got Beverly Hillbillies from 63, Lucy Ball Show from 62, Petticoat Junction, Happy Days, Odd Couple, Laverne and Shirley, Cheers, and Love American Style, which is always fun and nostalgic, unless you're younger than me, which most people are now. And then you just say, what is this old weird crap? Christmas Without Snow. Don't know much about this, but it does have the mom from the Waltons, John Huseman, from the Paper Chase, and James Cromwell, a very young one there. And I think it's a melancholy made-for-TV special, but have not watched that. David Niven, The Enchanted Christmas, about the Christmas, The Answer. Said it's black and white. I think it was a made-for-TV special. They did plays live on TV way back. There's Nativity of the Christmas Child. Also includes Behold the Glory. There were a lot of low-budget Christian programs out there that would be on Sunday morning. I remember watching a lot of them. This was one of them. It's another compilation of sitcoms. I Love Lucy, Honeymooners, Taxi, Family Ties, Frasier, Wings, Joe Santa Claus, and The Orphan's Christmas. Don't recognize any major names on here in TV production. Some of them are a lot of fun. Some of them are interesting because they would be actually live, and you'll see mistakes, and the audio will be weird, but fun watching. Tale of Two Christmases, and then The Answer with David Niven again. Richard McMurray. No real names. Again, they did a lot of teleplays in the 50s and 60s. Blessed Midnight Gift. And The Gift again. Again, public domain, and they'll crank it out. Another one with some, I think this one might have been a freebie. King of Queens, Christmas. Wonderful Life, Part 1 and 2. News Radio, Christmas. And Silver Spoons, Best Christmas Ever. Bob Hope TV special. Compilation of the holiday specials. Picked this up recently. Haven't had time to watch it. Might happen tonight. This one's actually pretty good. Looks at Christmas. I was kind of one of those throw together from TV Guide, so you could see bits and pieces from all the best Christmas specials over the years. And then this compilation of Christmas performances on the Ed Sullivan Show. George Carlin, the Muppets, sing It's Christmas Tomorrow. I'm going to have to use that one of these days. And then this is Ozzie and Harriet, four of their Christmas episodes remastered on Shout Factory Records. Christmas TV. This is another compilation of just television available stuff. Santa and the Fairy, Snow Queen, Christmas Story, Howdy Doody Christmas, The Elf and His Little. Some of these really old TV things are actually kind of creepy, but worth watching. This Christmas in Hollywood is an odd one. Again, it's all old public domain stuff. Santa Claus in the movies, a little compilation talking about it, holiday favorites, holiday favorite songs, and it's got famous artists singing, clips from several movies. I think there's a bunch of commercials, and then an interview with Ron Howard and Jim Carrey. They were producing The Grinch at the time. Again, Tim Allen. It's just kind of a funky little TV special. This I highly recommend is to Google and watch some SCTV Christmas specials on here. With the Jewel Hamaker Dancers is well worth it. If any of you is out there, watch Schitt's Creek. Eugene Levy from that was a major writer and performer as a young man. Looks a lot like his son because he's about his age on here. But there's some good, and Andrea Martin and Catherine O'Hara are also involved in this, along with John Kennedy. Has some really good stuff. More classic TV. 4-Star Playhouse is where the gift came from, and the answer. So a lot of those came from the Racket Squad, to Adventures of Robin Hood. A lot of 50s TV shows on this one. There's several of the 70s shows, holiday shows, mostly Christmas. Legendary Christmas Entertainers. And I believe a bunch of holiday songs. And I believe on this one, which makes it worth the bonus CD, but the Liberace Christmas Special, which is well worth a watch, is on here. And then more Christmas specials, Beverly Hillbillies, all public domain. Classic TV specials. This one's cranked with a full of them. Christmas Features, Scrooge, Miracle on. Again, those TV shows that are public domain show up again. Oh. Let's see what else we can find here. Again, from Legend Films. Evan Costello's TV show, Colorized. There's some good bits on there. The remastered, and this is actually not a bad film. Doesn't completely focus on Laurel and Hardy. They just happen to be in there. But it's a version of the March of the Nutcracker with soldiers. The Great Rupert. This is the public domain version. And it got colorized. It's a weird film. Kind of George Powell produced it, and but it goes into it's like A Wonderful Life, a budget version of Wonderful Life, but there's a real weird subplots about someone who's always talking to a mouse that lives in the house named Rupert. One of my favorite and a very quirky film is Toys, and the soundtrack is great. It has The Ending of the Year, which is a great Christmas song, kind of mellow and weird. A5 will have to show sometime. But Joan Cusack, Robin Wright, Michael Gambino, Robin Williams, and LL Cool J as his brother. But it's a very weird film, kind of anti-war film, but it's very moody, and the color palette is really incredible. Along the lines of all the other films of the last few years, there's the Fred Claus with Vince Vaughn being a smartass, and it's a typical Vince Vaughn movie, just made Christmas. This actual film's not too bad. It's along the same lines there, produced by Seth Rogen, I believe, and basically three buddies getting high all night the night before Christmas instead of doing what they're supposed to. Bought this last year. It's pretty good. Bad Moms Christmas, but it's pretty entertaining. The most recent version of Wonderful Life I picked up. It's got the color eyes, which some people think is blasphemy, but it's really well remastered and classic film. It always felt a little long to me. I couldn't get into it like a lot of people do. A lot of people have told me how much this is a Christmas movie. I have not watched it yet, but I finally picked it up last year, so maybe Cindy and I'll have to watch it this season. This movie I actually loved a lot. It was off the wall and crazy, and I just like Kate McKinnon because she's insane. Polar Express 3D, pretty entertaining, great for the kids. Done that one. Cindy was out there watching this today, White Christmas, and I've actually got to look because the color palette on it looked really saturated. So good question that I need to look up is, was it originally black and white and colorized, or was it actually shot in color? But I actually picked up, because I picked up cheap somewhere, I have two versions on Blu-ray. One was supposed to come with an audio CD soundtrack, and it was not there. But I bought it at Goodwill for 50 cents, so can't complain. Christmas in Connecticut. I think it's mostly Christmas in title, mainly, but it gets lumped in there. Home Alone 1 and 2. Pretty much your John Hughes Christmas thing going on. And holiday collection, some old classic films. Boys Town gets lumped into the Christmas thing. And here's another version of A Christmas Carol with Reginald Owen. I believe that would probably be 40s and 50s. And then Christmas in Connecticut came in this box. I always consider Edward Scissorhands a Christmas movie. Dark and quirky, but definitely has a lot of Christmas feeling to it. Another version of Wonderful Life. And then we'll probably run across a couple of these individually, but these four classic films, old 40s and 50s films. We have All Mine to Give, Happened on Fifth Street, Holiday Affair, and Blossoms in the Dust. I've watched a couple of these. All I can tell you is, don't be, if you're wanting a film to lift you up and make you feel happy about how well life works out, don't watch All Mine to Give. It's a downer. All right. And then we have another 4-pack of films. Christmas in Connecticut. Christmas Carol is actually most of what showed up on that other thing. But this also has The Singing Nun. They're kind of tying that into Christmas somehow, but I'm not quite buying it. While we're at, and then let's move on to the next step. Everyone feels better. We're about 3/4 of the way through. There is end in sight. I know I'm painful sometimes. Harold and Kumar Christmas actually was pretty entertaining. They did a nice homage to the Bink and Rankin Bass in the middle of it. And Neil Patrick Harris is pretty much insane. I remember watching this when I was younger a few times. I always enjoyed the Santa Claus. Take a drink. The Man Who Invented Christmas. It's actually a fairly recent film. It's actually very good. It's pretty much the story of Dickens about the time of him writing A Christmas Carol. And it's a period piece, and it's well put together. There's a lot of going into his head, and he's talking to Scrooge coming out of his own life, but it's well put together in a nice film. Uh, Robert Mitchum, A Holiday Affair. Again, this gets put in with the Christmas films. I don't know how Christmassy it is. All Mine to Give again. This the individuals I picked up at some point that do. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. It gets lumped in more with Thanksgiving more often. Let's see. There's the Blu-ray of Harold and Kumar. Here's not this one's not a horrible one. Our collection. It's actually 6 fairly more recent and better films. So you got a All Dogs Christmas Carol from All Dogs Go to Heaven, The Christmas Carol from 2001, Pink Christmas, The Pink Panther, Babes in Toyland from 97, the film Prancer, which is pretty good film, kind of a John Hughes feel, and the film Blizzard, another pretty decent one. I think there's a Prancer 2 out there. It's another just big box collection from AMC. Has the production of the Nutcracker from 1990, so that's pretty nice. Year with that. Oh, another Seymour Hicks again Christmas version. Santa Claus takes care of Conquers the Martians. This was a poorly advised, badly written attempt to cash in on Santa. They bought the rights to this, or to Rudolph, bought the rights to do a sequel to the original Rudolph from the 60s, even brought in, had the same characters, and tied around the island of misfit toys. I got through about 3/4 of it, but it was painful. All right. Now to the good stuff. Some quirky stuff here. The Mr. Bill Christmas special. I had it on VHS, so I was able to dub it down. It's quite entertaining. Let's see. Martians again. The TV series Invader Zim. They did an entire a third of their episodes 19 through 27, and several of them are Christmas themed and really weird and well worth it. There's the first DVD release of South Park with some Christmas specials. I recommend Mr. Hanky's Christmas special, and Welcome to all 3 of these are pretty good. There's the Christmas Classics, which is another one. This is a pretty good made for TV cable R-rated film. The Hebrew Hammer, featuring Adam Goldberg, does a nice job as the Hebrew Hammer. And Mario Von Peebles has a lot of good actors, and it's pretty entertaining. You got to have Andy Dick as Santa's son, and it's out of control. But it's kind of a Hanukkah versus Christmas thing going on. Got Christmas Vacation, a classic. I'm sure you'll see that this season. Christmas Vacation 2, which is pretty rough. It was just about the time that Randy Quaid lost his mind. So you could, but it's a pretty weak film, but they tried. But it's mostly about Cousin Eddie. We got Elf, which one of the channels might be doing 24 hours of Elf again. And then I've got the Badder Santa thing, and then Bad Santa Blu-ray and Bad Santa 2, both inappropriate for children. I'll just say that and be done with it. But both very entertaining, if you ask me. But I'm not sure Cindy enjoyed them as much as I did. A classic. We have Pee-wee's Playhouse Christmas Special, well worth watching. You got the Del Rubio sisters, Frankie Avalon, Charo, Annette Funicello. How can you go wrong with Little Richard? You could stay up all night watching this and feel festive. It's hell. Saturday Night Live Christmas. This focuses a lot on the early years up through the 80s and then through the 90s and 2000. This is their second compilation they put out, and a lot of it's pretty entertaining. Sweaty Balls is on here, of course. Dysfunctional Family Christmas, Christmas Church Lady. Good stuff. And then one of my favorite recent Christmas films is Krampus. And it's pretty dark, but it has kind of almost an Evil Dead humor to it at times. But I found it a lot of fun. Evil gingerbread men and teddy bears that you have to kill or make it entertaining. David Koechner's in it, and several other Scott Adams, a couple others, but it's a good film. It'll make you feel Christmassy. And then a couple slasher films from the 70s and early 80s, Christmas Evil and Silent Night, Bloody Night. John Carradine he must have needed money because he was in the film, but according to the bio here, he couldn't actually say his lines. They just had him ring a bell to do his lines, which was kind of sad. All right. Getting near to the end. One of my favorite specials as a kid. For some reason, I was obsessed with Johnny Whitmore because he was Sigmund and the Sea Monsters. And this was The Littlest Angel. And then, of course, his guardian angel is Herman Munster, Fred Guillaume. So it's a pretty entertaining thing. There's no official release. This is public domain. There's also a soundtrack. There's some singing going on. So it is what it is, but it is definitely a object from the 70s. Of course, the classic Charlie Brown Christmas. No need to say a lot about that. Nightmare Before Christmas. I call it a Christmas show. It's one of those that hits both holidays. Yeah. Then we have the original. Well, let's pull that together as we go along here. We can do it right now. So we have the original, the classic. Chuck Jones animated it. It definitely has a Bugs Bunny feel to it, and it holds up. It's been reissued a couple times. The special making of is well worth watching sometime with Phil Hartman kind of narrating your way through. Jim Carrey's version is actually not bad. Ron Howard directed it, and its color palette is pretty bright and entertaining. And then the new Grinch film from Illumination last year, I believe, and it's actually not horrible either. But it's definitely takes some liberties and changes the story up a bit. All right, there's the Grinch again. So now we're going to get into Rankin Bass. And so those of you who buy the Rankin Bass, just so you know, and it might help when you're out shopping, there's a real weird thing with Rankin Bass. Half of it is owned by Warner Brothers, and half of it's owned by Sony Wonder Media, and actually Warren Michaels owned it for a while. So that's why they can never get their act together and get a proper box set. So, and there's a few that kind of fall through the cracks. So Jack Frost is one of those that falls through the cracks. There was a poorly done special. This one was poorly done on a budget label, and it was finally remastered and put out by Warner Brothers years ago. It's not the best special, but it's definitely one of the specials from the 70s. Let's see here. Temperatures. And then, To Tie In Wonders done this a couple times to tie into it. They made a Christmas sing-along, which isn't bad. You get all the songs, and then you get the bouncing snowball so you can sing along. There was a Year Without a Santa Claus live action made, which has Michael McKean as the ice miser. I can't and let's see, John Goodman as Santa. But it follows the story really closely of the Rankin Bass special. Chris Kattan, Ethan Spurley, Delta Burke, Eddie Griffin. It's definitely a product of the 90s. And one of them that definitely falls through the cracks and is actually, it'd be nice to see a good DVD version, is The Santa Claus, which is the story of Santa Claus. Story of Santa Claus that was based on the J.R.R. Tolkien book. It's a little darker. That's a hard. Let me pull this out. I had a VHS copy and I was able to dub it to DVD. But it's one of the later Rankin Bass, and it was actually pretty good. They were doing some other J.R.R. Tolkien stuff, so they understood the story and did a pretty good job of the animation. One of the last live action stop motion animations they did. Anyway, Frosty's Winter Wonderland, and also has 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, another special. These are all Rankin Bass now. The Legend of Frosty the Snowman. This was Burt Reynolds in the 80s, so this was like the third Frosty, I believe. Rudolph and Frosty's Christmas in July. The classic Santa Claus is Coming to Town. And Frosty the Snowman. You have a great Christmas, you and your family as well, Amy. And when you have it in the heart, A Christmas Carol, and the original A Year Without a Santa Claus. And see, and then we've got 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, narrated by Joel Grey. You know how I never miss a Joel Grey narrated film. And then now they're out on Blu-ray. Got a couple of them there with a lot of specials. There's a box, and this one actually picked up a couple specials that hasn't showed up anywhere else. The Night Before Christmas, Year Without Santa Claus. And again, this is all the Warner Brothers stuff because it's got and there's the 5 Rudolph, Frosty, Santa Claus, the Little Drummer Boy, Cricket and the Hearth. Somewhere along the way, they never seem to have picked up Frosty Returns is on this one, but there's a Little Drummer Boy book 2 that never seems to get picked up. And we're down to the last bit. A couple more from VHS. Follow That Sleigh with Elvis the Rockin' Reindeer. Know nothing about this. Christmas tips. Another Turtles Christmas special. Can't have enough animated Turtles Christmas specials. Dear Santa, guess what's coming to... I'm going to have to rewatch that. Our old Hanna-Barbera special that I don't know if it's been put out on DVD. Pixar, The Tiny Toy Story. It's probably on something. Fraggle Rock Christmas. I know they've got the entire series out now. Bob Newhart Christmas specials. WKRP, and I think this one has the Flying Turkeys episode on it. I'm going to finish up here with what I have from the Muppets on DVD. So Emmett Otter's Christmas. It's hard to really call it a Christmas special, but it is. And Andy Williams wrote the soundtrack. And the last couple of years, it was a Record Day reissue, and I picked it up at Planet Score Records. It was a well sought after soundtrack for a long time, but it's kind of a creepy little weird special. Not most of the original or most of the normal characters in there. Kermit kind of shows up to narrate and introduce, but it is an odd show. Sesame Street's version of A Christmas Carol, which is pretty good and kind of quirky. This one is a public domain, and it is interesting. It's a lot of there's several I keep it with the Christmas because it's got a lot of Christmas stuff, but it's a lot of Muppet performances on the Ed Sullivan Show from September 1966 and up through Christmas. And Ed Sullivan had a liking to Jim Henson and put him on quite a bit. Let's see. Very Muppet Christmas movie. That one's a little newer. Muppets Christmas Letters to Santa. A very special Christmas special. So this was an early Sesame Street Christmas special. I think it got aired on CBS. And it has Michael Jackson, I think. Let's see. Smothers Brothers. Sesame Street Gang, Anne Murray. But it's a product of the late 70s. This one, there's a CD and album to go with it. This was the Muppets Rocky Mountain Christmas Special with John Denver. They worked well together and did quite a few things. Muppet Family Christmas, one of my favorite Christmas specials. It kind of ties the Muppets and the Sesame Street characters. And they get stranded and has a lot of good Christmas music. And I've got two versions of this. One has the missing song, one doesn't. But this is an excellent retelling. The first film the Muppets did after Jim Henson died. But it's an excellent retelling of the Christmas Carol. Can't recommend that enough. Anyway, that's a lot, throwing a lot out there. And hope you enjoyed. I've rambled on for over an hour. Merry Christmas to everyone. Stay safe. And be kind. And Merry Christmas. And we will note the skeleton has Santa Clauses and a hat on now. So he is ready for the holiday, as we all are. Hopefully 2021 will be much better, or at least calmer. And take care of yourselves. Talk to you later.